College Station. I'm Grace Hollowell, and today I'm joined by Marissa Harris, one of our HR managers from our Human Resources Department. Hi, Marissa.
Hi, Grace.
Welcome to the show. I don't believe during my time here that we've had HR on the show yet, so this is a very exciting episode. We talk about all the time how College Station is not just a great place to live, but it's a great place to work. We are one city, one team. That is our motto here, and all of our employees kind of really live that out in what they do every single day for our community. So to kind of kick things off, let's talk about you and what you do.
So as you mentioned, I am one of the HR managers. I am over the employee life cycle, so everything from recruiting to training and development to leadership development. I'm over all of those functions as well as our employee relations. So if it has to do with helping to equip our people to be as successful as possible in their roles, that is kind of under my purview. My team motto is serving the people who serve the people of College Station. And so we really are passionate about how important our employees are to making the people of College Station thrive and able to live their lives. I feel very passionate about our people because they oftentimes don't get the recognition for the work that they do, but it is essential functions that allow me to have my family in a house that we love, in a city that we love. So, yeah.
Yes, definitely your role is very people-centric, people-person focused, which not everybody, that is not their niche.
Fair.
I can say, I know a lot of what we do in public communications, we are people, but it is also behind the scene, and a lot of us are introverts. So it is nice to have those extroverts in the other departments, especially something like HR, to be able to break us out of our shells sometimes.
Yeah.
So you, like you said, your family is here, and what kind of drew you to College Station in the first place?
Yeah, so I actually went to A&M, graduated in 2012, met my husband here. We were best friends for 7 years before we started dating.
That's awesome.
So we just are really deeply connected to the city. My husband actually is the executive director for a nonprofit that kind of focuses on the thriving of the students and faculty. So we just love this city and are both really invested in making sure that it thrives and is successful. So.
Yes, that is we love those stories, and people here all the time on the show talk about, they came to Aggieland either for school or for one thing, and they have stayed because of the community and because of the people. And that environment is so true to the core of what makes us so special, I think. I am a non-Aggie,
Really?
but we came here and, we've stayed because of the people and the atmosphere surrounding our city. So you are relatively new here working for the city.
Yeah.
So kind of what made you want to switch and start a career in local government?
Yeah, so I worked for over a decade in the very different environment. And I loved it. It was good for the season of life that I was in, but at a certain point, the 50 to 60-hour work weeks and the CEO calling your cell phone panicked on the weekends just stops being feasible when you have 2 kids under 4 years old. And I had a friend who sent me the job description for my role and was like, this sounds exactly like you. And I would never probably have considered local government just because I fall into the category of people who don't even think that it's a place that has potential roles for them. You tend to think local government, you think like police, fire, like those sorts of things.
Right.
And I do not have those skill sets. But the longer I've been here, the more I've realized that if you can think of it, we probably have a role in the city that does that. So, I have really loved switching kind of out of the really fast-paced startup world to the like stability and like purpose, like the service-driven nature of government work. It's been really impactful.
Yes, and that's something that isn't necessarily top of mind when you think of local government. Is we are a service agency. We are public servants. That's kind of our title for what we do. So everything that we do is to help serve our public and our residents. And what is one thing that you wish people knew about your area specifically of what you do in HR?
Yeah, so HR has kind of a reputation of being scary. I think not just here, but kind of across the nation.
Yeah.
And so I think I wish that people knew that HR is more than just like hiring and firing. Our goal is to make sure that the employees of the city are equipped to thrive, and that if there are things that are going to jeopardize that we're intervening and that we're coaching and helping to develop people, and that ultimately we are for our employees. I think we get a reputation of just being the bad guy because we're there in some of the worst moments in people's careers sometimes, but you don't get into human relations without being somebody who really is passionate about people and like caring about them like being successful. And so 90% of our role is in that, in being proactive and trying to equip people. It just is the 10% of the time that we're there on hard days that we kind of becomes the reputation. I spend a lot of my days talking to people about their lives and their families, and I feel like I'm a part-time therapist sometimes in the best way. But I really love the interactive nature of my job and the fact that I get to partner with people and them being successful and watch them get promoted and find the career that like fits their skill set and that they love. So that's really great.
Yes, and that kind of goes back to, like you were mentioning, the employee life cycle. So from start and watching them grow is a very important aspect of what you do. And what is something that you think would surprise people about what you do? We kind of touched on it a little bit, but what is like a big, either a misconception or something that would surprise someone who may not be familiar with human relations?
Yeah, so HR kind of covers a lot of functions that I think people don't think about. We cover like risk, so keeping the employees and the employee-owned resources safe, so cars and stuff like that. We cover benefits, so health insurance and things like that. We cover safety, we cover wellness. There are people on my team that like train our commercial drivers. And so there are just, it's a really broad function that covers a lot of things that it takes to equip our employees to do their jobs, some of which I'm not even a subject matter expert on.
Yeah.
So that is, there's just a lot of misconceptions about HR because it seems like it's just employee relations, and it really is so many things that it takes to make our employees successful.
Right. And like you mentioned, the wellness aspect of it, I never would have thought that was something that HR would do. But it's something I know that I take advantage of here. And we have a little wellness room for if we need a minute. We can go sit in there. There's, little fidget toys, which I'm a big fan of. They help me. And it's something that unless you are in that world every single day, you don't realize how much HR does, not just for the employees, but for the organization that the employees are serving. So that kind of ties into what we're going to talk to next a little bit. And since you are relatively new, this might be a harder question. But what is like the biggest thing that you've learned so far in your time here?
I think that the thing that I have learned the most is probably just how passionate the leadership within the city is about our people, not just our employees, but about the citizens at large. I've been a part of a lot of really fun and really hard conversations that involved city leadership, and every single time I've just been so impressed and proud of the fact that I trust the decision making, the fact that every decision is based on what is what's best for the city, the people of the city, and the employees that make the city run. I love that I'm never having to question that leadership. I really have learned and respect a ton the way that our city is led.
Yes, that is something that, not everybody gets to see, or those conversations that you have to be a part of. So before we get into today's topic, how can people contact HR if they have questions about anything that we talk about today?
Yeah, so we have a HR general line that I don't know the number off the top of my head, but you can call that number, and we have a really talented front desk team that can figure out your question and direct it to whoever the appropriate person on our team is to handle it. As I mentioned, we handle kind of a lot of functions, and so they can kind of figure out what you need and get you the right person for that. We also have people that call in who are actually looking for College Station ISD. And so if you have questions, we can probably find the answer to your question within the whole city, not even just necessarily our department. So that is probably the best way. There also is an email inbox, hrinfo@cstx.gov, that we can take questions there, and we try to get pretty quick responses to them. So that's probably the best two ways.
Yes, the staff, no matter if you don't think that the question is something that they might be able to handle, I'm sure they will be able to answer it or point you in the right direction.
We'll do our best.
Yes. Okay, so today we're going to talk about some hiring opportunities that we have going on in the city for those that are curious about starting to work for the city of College Station or looking for new career opportunities. So what types of positions do we have open?
So some of the positions that we currently have open we have a lot of very technical jobs. So we have some openings in facilities. We have a lot of positions that are, there's almost always a role in. So public safety, so fire, police. We almost always have roles in public safety. We have some open roles in some of our essential services. So public works, water, electric. Those are usually the ones that it's easiest to find a role in, but the city covers such a broad range of functions that it's worth, if you have a skill set and you're interested in working for the city, just turning on a job alert for whatever you're interested in working in, and you'll get an email sent to you whenever we have an opening in that area, and then you can not have to constantly be checking our website. It will come directly into your inbox.
Yes, that is a good thing to set up those alerts for sure. And are there certain departments or roles where we're seeing the greater need for hiring and employees?
Yeah, like I mentioned, we always have needs for people with technical skills. Mm-hmm. So much of the functions of the city are they're technical functions, and so if you have a specialized skill set, that is always something that we are going to be looking for. I will say we are growing both of our public safety teams this coming year, and so we will be looking for more police officers and more firefighters. And so if you are interested in either of those roles, we sponsor people to go through all of the training that it takes to become a police officer or a firefighter. And so those are both really awesome, very impactful careers that there will likely be quite a few openings for very soon. So those are probably our two biggest needs right now.
And can you walk us through the types of jobs people might not realize local government offers?
Yeah, I will say there are quite a few that you wouldn't expect. I feel like your job is a great example of something you wouldn't expect. But we have a pretty large IT team. We have people who are tennis coaches and swim instructors. We have utilities, we have public safety, we have a lot of customer service oriented jobs. So there really is kind of something for everyone at the city. We are a great employer, so it's definitely worth trying to look and see if your potentially niche career is here. I think outside of the medical field, we probably have something in every category.
Yeah, and you mentioned like the tennis instructor. We're not just talking about full-time positions here. There are part-time positions as well as internships. There's a little something for everybody here. So what is the best way for someone to find and apply for a job with the City of College Station?
Yeah, so probably the easiest way would be to go to cstx.gov/careers. We have a beautiful new website that you can look at all of our roles in. That will have everything listed that we currently have. That also would be where you would go to set up a job alert. If we don't currently have an opening, we are almost always hiring. I have not been here super long, but I also have not been here at a time that we didn't have at least one opening, just because we're such a large organization. So it is always worth checking and being on the lookout for something you're interested in.
And do you have any tips for applicants to make their applications stand out?
Yeah, I would say looking at the job description and matching your experience to what the job is looking for. A lot of times you'll have transferable skills to what the job application or the job description is looking for. You just kind of have to translate what you've done and how that meets the need that we're trying to fill. That's probably the best way to do it. A lot of people will use the same resume for every job, and it is way easier as a hiring manager to understand whether or not you'll be a good fit if you kind of help us to understand how what you've done previously will meet the need that I'm looking for. So that would be my advice, not just for this job, but for honestly any job that you look for.
Yes, very important to explain how your skills benefit the position. And are there any common mistakes that you see during the application or interview process?
Yeah. I wouldn't say we have a ton of mistakes,
right.
But I would say definitely using just a standard resume is probably one. If there are additional requirements for things, not adding all of the requirements. So if there's a transcript request, not making sure all of the attachments are there. And then for interviews, I would say if you're asked to, like, whether you're a self-starter or not, don't just tell us you're a self-starter. Like, give us a situation in which you showed that you were a self-starter. That makes it way easier for us to know whether it's just something that you're saying about yourself or if you have actually, like, done the work to demonstrate it.
Right. Always having those examples in your back pocket are very, very helpful. And what is something that applicants can expect after they hit the submit button on their application? What does the after process look like?
Yeah, so the city is kind of like 16 different companies. So
right.
Each department is going to have their own interview process. And so it's going to be really different if you apply for a police job or if you apply for a finance job. They're all going to have a different candidate experience because you're hiring for really different things. There's a different security level involved in being a police officer than there is for having a customer service facing role. And so it's hard to say exactly what you're going to experience. I would say generally speaking, you'll have the hiring manager who actually knows what it takes to do the role that will review your resume and contact you if you are chosen for an interview. We usually try to encourage our teams, no matter what, to do at least one phone screen. I would say generally speaking, we tend to try to do panel interviews so that we can get a more diverse perspective on candidate fit. And then we will call you with a job offer if we're interested in pursuing you. There's some pre-boarding requirements, and then we start you in the office and you get to hang out with my team while we get you incorporated into the company culture.
Yes, that is something that I think here, when I first started, I noticed the care in the onboarding process that HR makes sure you know everything that you need to know, not just about your job, but about the city in general. through the onboarding process, the orientations. It's very in depth, so you don't feel lost.
Yeah, we try.
Yeah, because I know sometimes on your first day, you're like, oh, this is new to me. I don't know anybody. I don't know how this works. But after my first, walk through with HR, I feel like I was like, oh, okay, I'm at ease now.
Yeah.
We got it under control. So we mentioned earlier that part of your team deals with benefits for working for the city. So what are some of the benefits of working for the city of College Station versus working at a private sector job?
So I would say benefits are probably one of the main reasons that people will choose to work for the city as opposed to a private sector job. We invest a lot in making sure that we're viewing our employees as whole people and that we're catering to all of those needs. So we honestly have so many benefits that one of the things that I'm working on is creating like a table of contents so that people can find all of the benefits that we have in each category. But I would say some of the ones that we hear people care about the most is probably our retirement plan. We have a 2-to-1 matching with TMRS, and you can actually transfer some of your public service years of service credits to the city if you've done like military service or worked for the university. We also have an employee clinic that both you and your dependents are eligible for, which when you are waiting for an appointment time at one of the primary care places around here, it's nice to have a place that's specifically dedicated to our employees. We also have 38 days of vacation total. So 12 of those are sick days, but your first year as an employee, you will have 38 days of vacation and or sick time available to you. We are closed for the entire week of Christmas, which as a person with little kids is a huge benefit to my family. So there are a ton of benefits. It would probably take 20 minutes if I tried to list them all for you.
And like you said, the employee clinic, that's one that I am really appreciative of, having that resource there for me and my husband as well. And the week off before Christmas is something very, very unique. I've never been at a place before that offers something like that.
Yeah.
And with my family being across the country up north, it is very, very helpful to get to spend a little bit of extra time with them during that special time of year. So how does the city support employees' growth, training, or career advancement?
Yeah, so that actually also is my team. So we try to invest in things like educational reimbursement. So if you're trying to get an additional degree or certification that relates to your job, we sponsor those for our employees so that they can come back and be better, more efficient. They can teach the people on their teams the things that they learned. We sponsor people to go to conferences if it's going to make them better at their job. So there are lots of opportunities to learn a ton of stuff. And honestly, just the nature of the city being so diverse in function, you can learn a ton of things if you're interested in learning from different departments. If you find out that you came in a certain job and that you're really interested in potentially pursuing a job in a different department, there's a lot of transfer opportunities available for leadership growth or just differentiation of your skill set. So honestly, the city is a great place to learn, grow, develop professionally, I would say.
Yes, and those resources are for anybody, a part-time employee, a full-time employee. It's there for everybody. And what makes our workplace culture unique? It's a loaded question.
Yeah. There are a lot of things that make the city unique. I would say the people definitely make the culture.
Yeah.
And that's anywhere. I would say specifically here, you are in a service-oriented organization. And so everyone works here because they're passionate about the city and they want to see the city succeed. And that is just a really wholesome culture to be a part of. You see a lot of teamwork. I mean, you said earlier, our motto is one city, one team. But you really see that in the way that the departments will interact with each other. I love being on a first name basis with firefighters and police officers and people that I will just see doing functions around the city, fixing our streets and things like that. So it's just a really cohesive, collaborative culture that I really genuinely love a ton.
Yes, and I have seen that firsthand when we were doing our city history book. Our public works team, solid waste, they were out there collecting garbage, and I realized, we need photos of them doing that.
Yeah.
And we don't have that many, so I got in my car and I was, yelling out to them, "Hey, I'm gonna follow you and take some pictures," and they were like, "Okay, you need us to pose,"
The only time you can say that statement and it not be weird.
Right. I'm from PubCom, don't worry, I'm not just a random person, but you're going to be in our book. And they were more than happy to stop and pose. So again, it all falls back to that one city, one team. So how does working for the city directly impact our community and our residents?
It would be very impossible to not impact the city. We're the people who keep the lights on, clean water running, the people who pick up your garbage, the people who make sure that the streets are taken care of, the people who provide programming for seniors and kids. There's not a single function of the city that doesn't focus on impacting the city of College Station and its residents and improving their quality of life.
Yes, we are here to serve. And can you share a success story of someone who started in one role or grew into another during your time here? Does one stand out?
Well, I've only been here for a year, so I wouldn't say that I have seen one, but probably my favorite example is one of our assistant city managers, Jeff Kirsten. He started out as a lifeguard here.
Yes.
And is now an assistant city manager over IT and finance and public works. So there are so many examples of that throughout the city because it is a place that people come and they build their entire career, which I love. You'll have people who've been here for 40 years. We're about to present a 40-year award this year. So there are a lot of examples. It's a great place to build a career.
Yes, it definitely is. So kind of wrapping things up, are there any upcoming hiring initiatives or job fairs in the near future?
Yeah, so our recruiter is out and about. We have several events with student organizations like student athletes and the Corps of Cadets on campus. And then we will be at the Brazos Valley Fair and Rodeo. Just keep your eyes out. If it's an event, my recruiter is probably there. But also we are always online. So if you're not able to make it to an event, we'll be there online for you to apply.
Okay, and one more time, where can people find out more?
At cstx.gov/careers.
So before we go, we're going to play a quick rapid fire game of this or that questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, do you prefer a desk job or field work?
I will say I love getting out to meet our employees in the field when I can, but as you can tell, I am a desk job girl.
Okay, and do you prefer in-person interviews or a virtual interview?
Definitely in person. I love being able to interact with people without a screen blocking me.
Very valid. And do you prefer team brainstorming or solo problem solving?
Ooh, team brainstorming for sure. I love the idea generation that you get from multiple perspectives.
Yes. And do you prefer job fair networking or connecting over LinkedIn?
My recruiter would definitely say job fair. I love the knowledge sharing that happens on LinkedIn. So I think I personally like LinkedIn.
Okay. And lastly, are you a coffee break or a lunch break person?
I'm a lunch break person because I like to sneak home and surprise my kids, and
Aww.
It's pretty hard to beat having two toddlers running up and say, "Mom's home," and giving you a hug.
Well, that is great.
The best part of my day.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Marissa, for being here. It was a very great conversation. One more time, if anybody has questions, cstx.gov/careers.
That's the one.
And that's what's up.